Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here with NBC Sports Bay Area. Final game status report revealed by Kyle Shanahan on Friday, and there are five players who will be out. Spencer Burford, Brock Purdy, of course, Deommodore Lenoir, that's kind of a surprise, Deebo Samuel, and Robert Beal. Deebo Samuel's been dealing with a wrist injury and a rib injury, and Deommodore Lenoir has been dealing with a shoulder injury. Both of those guys missed practice all week, so it's not a total surprise. But generally, when guys are kind of close, they'll let them play. But this time, because the game doesn't mean anything for either team, no, there's no end result of the game. I hate saying it's meaningless because it's not meaningless. It's kind of for pride. But because there are no implications, that's the word I was looking for, both those guys are going to sit out. So Robert Beal also out. Doubtful Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles with a calf injury. Questionable now. George Kittle, Jair Brown, Colton McKivitz, and Isaac Yiadom. So, good thing about Colton McKivitz is that he didn't practice all week, but he was out there on Friday. Same with George Kittle again. George Kittle was listed as out a couple days, limited, but we did see him out at the on the practice field. Colton McKivitz was not out there until Friday, which is a very light day. So it looks like he'll be able to return to that right tackle position for Sunday's game. So they do have a little bit of time. They aren't leaving for the desert until Saturday daytime, and then they'll be heading out there. So again, not no implications for this game for the 49ers versus the Cardinals. Both teams have been eliminated. In fact, every team in the NFC West has been eliminated except for the Los Angeles Rams, who started out the season way worse. And it's one of those things, they played well when it counted, and now the Rams are going to the playoffs. So as far as what to look forward to on Sunday in this game, it's, Ricky Pearsall, his homecoming. It's the first time he will have ever played in State Farm Stadium. His mother has 55 family members coming, and I know there's other family members coming as well, and friends and family, probably high school coaches, probably high school friends. He went to Arizona State for a year before he went to Florida. So, I mean, I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have a huge group of people there. So anytime Ricky Pearsall does something, I'm sure the crowd will go nuts. Also, 45% of the fans will be supporting the 49ers. So almost half of the crowd will be 49ers faithful. Also, it'll be fun to see how Josh Dobbs kind of reconnects with Jauan Jennings. Those two played at Tennessee together, and Jauan Jennings was brought to Tennessee to be Josh Dobbs' backup at quarterback. Jauan Jennings made the transition to be a wide receiver and has obviously been, very good. He started out his NFL career getting cut by the 49ers, drafted late in that 2020 year, had a rough start because everybody did that year. I mean, I remember Jauan Kinlaw had a rough year. Those guys didn't know where to work out. They had no OTAs, they had no minicamp because the world was shut down for COVID. So Jauan Jennings has really kind of come into his own. He, signed a 2-year extension and basically became wide receiver one this year with Deebo Samuel kind of going in and out of injury, Ricky Pearsall being out, Brandon Ayuk being out. So Jauan Jennings stepped up into this role and he's been doing a really good job. So it could be that the 49ers reward him for how well he's played this season. He could reach the 1,000-yard mark. He's got 77 yards. Josh Dobbs could help him. Shanahan could also help him. I think they will. But why not? Get Jauan Jennings that 1,000-yard marker and send him off into the 2025 season coming up with a little momentum. I think one of the top priorities for the 49ers during this offseason is really to sign Dre Greenlaw. They've got to bring him back because you see how different the defense is with Dre Greenlaw out there. Fred Warner, I think, is trying to do everything himself, but when they're busting coverage, that usually is covered up on one side by Dre and one side by Fred. So without both of them out there, it makes a huge difference. Now, I know there's been a lot of comments on why the 49ers don't blitz. They're not built to blitz. They're not a blitzing team. They'll do it every now and then. And remember, one of my favorite guys who would blitz is K'Wan Williams, the shark blitz. So he was, a corner blitz and, pretty successful at it. But the 49ers really count on four guys to rush the quarterback and the seven are in coverage. So with those four, generally you'll have some top players in there. And I think it's been really challenging this year without Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave and Javon Kinlaw pressuring the pocket along with the sides with Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd, who is really starting to kind of hit his stride now. Without four top guys on the defensive line, it's been really hard for them to get pressure. And without getting pressure, the cornerbacks have to cover longer. And so that's created an issue. They also have not been able to stop the run as well as they have in the past, which is kind of what they've been known for. So I expect the 49ers to draft a defensive lineman in the draft also. I think an offensive lineman would help as well. But the guys that they picked up during this kind of little, end of the season where almost the entire offensive line has been out, um, they've picked up some guys that maybe are, they're kind of doing a tryout now. Austin Pleasance, um, Charlie Heck. These are guys that could maybe step up if they need to. Um, there's a guy Hennessy who comes in who's kind of a guard center. Maybe he's a guy who can take over for Brendel, but they're not going to swap him out now because what the center has to do in Kyle Shanahan's offense is so much. So I just don't think it's going to happen there. But these guys are having their tryout. Basically, you've got a lot of young guys who are showing that they can play and trying to earn a spot for next year. So let's hope that there's a good game and no injuries to the veterans like George Kittle, who is going to play. The Gary Niver Award winner for the Good Guy Media Award winner. We give one a year to guys who go above and beyond, telling their stories, telling us about what's going on with the team, being sincere and not giving us the usual politically correct shtick. And George Kittle has been, really sincere about his responses this year. So it's been fun to cover him. It's always fun to cover George Kittle. He's a great guy to work with. So that's all I have for you today. It is Friday, and I'll be traveling to Arizona on Saturday. If you're out there, say hello, and I'll try and do an update Saturday. There will be some roster moves because there are some guys who are inactive. Maybe guys who they put on IR who they can elevate guys. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it. They really don't need to elevate them completely, but promote them from the practice squad. So we'll see that by 1 o'clock on Saturday. So I'll give you updates there. All right. Talk to you guys soon.